Oh, Ham Slice, are you still here? And do you have a song that you want me to recreate a synth sound? Because I can do that now. Freddy, Todd, Fascinator. Okay. So are you talking about the pad that's going on in the background? All right, so to me, the first thing that I do when I listen for a sound and I'm trying to recreate it is to determine what kind of a wave I think it is. Is it a saw, like of the main ones, is it a sine wave, a triangle wave, a saw wave, or a square wave? That is probably the best starting point, I guess. And if you don't know how those sound, here's a sine wave. Yep. Here's a saw wave. Much brighter. Here's a triangle wave. There we go. Square wave, super bright. This is a square wave with pulse width modulation, so basically it's like a square wave that's lopsided. Very chiptune-y sound. It's just more lopsided. Those are the basic shapes. If you have Serum, this is a great little exercise to just get to know your basic sounds, how things sort of start off in subtractive synthesis, where you take a very layered sound or a very harmonically rich sound, like a sawtooth wave, and you reduce harmonics from it. So my guess is that it's a saw wave, like you said, ham slice, stacked saw, yeah. Yep, something like that. So what I'm hearing, a couple things. Wah, wah. Sort of like a long attack on the filter, right? Because it's going wah. So it's like the filter starts low and then it goes, it opens up as the sound unravels. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna engage the filter, right? So that's gonna give us our starting point. All right, so let's choose a 24 dB per octave. All right, we'll stick with the default. And if we just play with the cutoff here, just moving this with the mouse, we can hear like what it's doing to the sound. So it sounds to me like, maybe I gotta go back in time a little bit. Oh, there it is again. So it's like something like that. So maybe it's traveling from here. Maybe pull down the resonance. Doesn't sound very resonant to my ears. Usually when it's resonant, it gets that like sort of like juicy, sort of like funky kind of sound. So anyway, I'm gonna take envelope 1 here. This is gonna like be able to modulate a parameter over time. So envelope 1, I'm gonna drag that over to the cutoff, and then I'm gonna drag the attack to be late. Boom! Already. Sounds a lot like, that's pretty sick. That sounds a lot like our sound to begin with. If you want to, you can also grab, there's like this little like green, you can kind of see it just above and to the left of this cutoff parameter. You can see it has a, that thing, whatever, that's like a control handle, and it lets you control the range as this envelope like moves through its range. That controls like how much it affects this parameter here. So that's gonna max out at like, 3/4. Whereas if I open it back up, it's gonna max out at the top, or I can go like reverse it. So you can barely hear it because it starts pretty low and then it goes even lower. Okay, so that already sounds pretty close. Let's see. We also have, it sounds like there's like multiple saws. It's not just like one. It sounds like there's either unison or like chorus going on, some sort of like phasing, like multiple copies of the same sound. So they sound kind of like, it sounds just like very layered. And it also sounds stacked. So here's what I'm gonna do, just to make it easier for myself. I'm just gonna go over to the chord plugin, which is gonna give me a, it's gonna give me, let's see here, 11. And let's go 14, so that's. So now I just have to play one key and it's gonna give me a, great. And it's got that wobbly tail, which means, usually that means vibrato. So yeah, I'm gonna open this up. Let's go basic shapes again. Actually, I mean, this kind of is the same thing. And that sounds good, I'm not gonna lie. Just opening this up. This is the difference. Just oscillator B. However, I do need to send this to filter 1. There it is. There we go. So I actually do want to choose just the same basic shape, just for the sake of making it easy. So what we're going to do, I'm going to unison this second one here. Come on, 2. So you got this little like unison control here. Basically what it does is it creates 2 copies of this oscillator and detunes them slightly. And you can choose the amount around the center pitch by which you detune your copies. And that helps to create that sort of like super saw. Beautiful, right? I think it's fucking awesome. Unison, these are like your unison controls on Serum. If you go to the global tab, and if you go to width, it actually will pan those copies to the left and right. So you get this like really wide sounding synth right away, which is great. So we've got that going. I'm gonna open up this cutoff just a little bit. Great, that gives it just a little bit more usable time. Okay. So let's move on to the wobble, right? Let's move on to the wobble. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna assign, this is gonna come from an LFO. One of the LFOs, and I'll just use LFO1 in this case, is going to control the pitch, the fine pitch of both of these oscillators. So the way that we do that is we take LFO1, we're gonna drag it to the fine control of both of these. You're gonna see that there's this little green bar that's showed up above the fine control. That's too much. That's gonna do this. Way too much. We don't need that. But already it sounds pretty cool. I mean, very lo-fi. What we can do is we can grab this little like blue guy. Yay. Okay, so you can see this like little like blue thing here. That's the same as we had over here. That's the amount of modulation. So I'm gonna pull that down to like, let's pull that down to like 30. Let's see where that gets us. I'm not sure if that's gonna be the right way to go, but we'll see. So it's wavy, but it's not like crazy, you know? It's not too nuts. Here's the other thing we're gonna do. I'm gonna turn off BPM, because we don't need that. What we're gonna wanna do is choose a rate in hertz. Usually for vibratos, to get that like sort of natural sounding vibrato, I go between like 5 to like 9 hertz, somewhere in that range usually works. And then I'm also gonna take this rise. This basically creates like an attack phase. So here we go, we got a little bit of wobble. It's actually, whoops. Let's bring this back up. I want it to wobble a little bit more. On both oscillators. That's actually starting off at the bottom, which I find weird. So by raising it, cool. We've done a little bit of work there. Let's do it like this. Let's go back to the sound, make sure that we have the okay, it's even a little bit more exaggerated than I thought. Maybe we'll bring this LFO over to the level of each of them too, just the tiniest bit. I think that's pretty close. Pretty fucking close. I just hear a little bit of it. I think the ramp up happens sooner and a little bit more like it like starts slower and then I think it happens a little faster than that even. Up by using it for the filter too, but so be it. But let's throw some reverb on it and maybe just call it a day. I think that might be kind of what we need. Throw a little hyper. That's my basic process. Again, a lot of that comes from just like knowing, like having done this a couple times. I don't use Serum like crazy, obviously, and you guys are giving me tips like I clearly don't use this all the time, but every synth kind of works the same. Like you choose, or every subtractive synth at least works more or less the same. You're gonna take the basic sound, so you basically just train your ears on what the 5 different sounds, or 6, or however many there are. You know, sine, triangle, saw, square, pulse width, square, what have you, and then, you know, any number. Now that we have Serum and whatnot, there's any number of different waves that you can use. You can use anything as a wave. For basic sounds, for most sounds, you can use these 5 basic sounds and then just basically try to figure out like what's changing over time. Is there a cutoff that's moving? Is there a level amplitude that's moving? Is there a detune that's moving? And then, you know, go from there.